Have you ever looked at people who just seem to effortlessly build wealth and thought, what game are they playing that I'm not? Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We're going way past the generic advice today. We're going to decode the actual hidden rules of the modern financial system. By the time we wrap up, you're going to understand the exact institutional levers driving capital, debt, and purchasing power. And more importantly, you'll know exactly how to leverage these mechanics to your absolute advantage. Okay, let's dive into this. We're breaking down the mechanics of this system across 5 main levels. First, the cost of civilization. Then, the bank and interest trap. Next, inflation and economic cycles. After that, winning the credit game. And finally, value, currency, and time. Let's get to it. All right, level 1, the cost of civilization. You know that feeling, right? You land a job, they promise you a $2,000 paycheck, but then, boom, $1,400 actually hits your bank account. It hurts. But we aren't just looking at a simple deduction here. We're looking at the absolute foundation of state funding. You know, historically, massive income taxes weren't really the norm. They actually evolved out of wartime necessity and just kind of morphed into this huge revenue engine we have today. This immediate withholding system literally shapes macroeconomic demand by snatching capital right out of our pockets and redirecting it into public infrastructure. The famous jurist Oliver Wendell Holmes once said that taxes are basically the price we pay for a civilized society. It's like the mandatory subscription fee for having roads, schools, and a legal system. But here is the kicker. The system is heavily stratified. Ordinary earned income, the sweat off your back, is usually penalized at the absolute highest marginal rates. Meanwhile, the system gives a massive high five to capital gains, which is just the money your investments make for you. Understanding this gap is absolutely crucial because how your income is categorized literally makes or breaks your ability to build real wealth over time. Moving right along to level 2, the bank and interest trap. So let me ask you, where does your deposited cash really go? When you drop your money off at an institution, you're basically trading physical cash for a digital IOU. The modern banking system does not just lock your money in a big steel vault like in the movies. No way. It runs entirely on liquidity and the mathematical probability that we won't all ask for our money back on the exact same day. Because of that assumption, the bank takes your capital and immediately blasts it out elsewhere. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it actually works behind the scenes. It's called fractional reserve banking, and it turns banks into the ultimate financial matchmakers. By legally only holding on to a tiny fraction of our total deposits, they lend the rest out for profit. This creates what economists call the money multiplier effect. Think about it. An initial deposit of, say, $1,000 can theoretically spin up $10,000 of new credit out in the wild through a chain of loans and deposits. This invisible expansion of credit, that is the real engine driving corporate expansion and economic growth. Because of this, interest becomes a massive double-edged sword. It's essentially the rent you pay or charge for capital over time. Think about the wild spread between the tiny yields you get on a standard savings account, maybe a few percent if you're lucky, and the rate charged on credit card debt, which is easily north of 20%. If you use the rule of 72, just divide 72 by your interest rate to see how fast your money doubles, you quickly realize that high-yield debt is like a wildfire. It compounds against you incredibly fast. But if you flip the script and deploy capital into investments, you harness that exact same math. It's like a legal cheat code that literally duplicates your wealth. Which brings us perfectly to level 3, inflation and economic cycles. We've all felt this one firsthand recently, right? You open a bag of chips, it's 90% air, and it somehow costs 30% more than it used to. That's shrinkflation in action. But on a macro scale, inflation is rigorously tracked through things like the Consumer Price Index. And this big surge in pricing usually comes from 2 main culprits. Either massive supply chain shocks that make goods super scarce, or aggressive monetary expansion, which is just a fancy way of saying central banks flooded the market with cash, completely throwing off the delicate balance between supply and demand. At its core, inflation is the silent thief of your purchasing power. When you pump up the M2 money supply, meaning there's way more physical cash and digital money floating around, without actually producing more stuff in the real economy, the value of every single dollar mathematically shrinks. I mean, your fixed salary might look identical on paper year after year, but the historical data does not lie. Over time, even a modest 2 to 3% target inflation rate is quietly siphoning massive purchasing power away from anyone whose money is just sitting around uninvested. And this dynamic is exactly what drives the whole boom and bust economic cycle. When inflation gets too hot and threatens to spiral, central banks step in and slam on the brakes. They heavily raise interest rates to crush borrowing and cool down demand. We saw this play out aggressively in the early 80s with the Volcker shock, where they deliberately forced a painful tightening cycle to kill stagflation. This massive vibe shift from an exuberant bull market to restrictive borrowing almost always triggers a recession. But here's the thing. Recessions aren't just random disasters. They're actually structural necessities. They're basically a hard reset that flushes out all the bad, over-leveraged debt and recalibrates the entire system. All right, let's talk about the game's ultimate scoring system in Level 4, winning the credit game.
Your credit score. It ranges from 300 to 850. But here is what most people get totally wrong. It does not measure your wealth. Not at all. It measures trust. It's essentially a commoditized metric of how trustworthy you are, boiled down into a 3-digit number that institutional algorithms use to price debt. Lenders use this highly efficient risk model to instantly calculate the exact mathematical probability that you're going to default. It's what allows the modern debt market to process millions of transactions every single day with crazy statistical confidence.
So what's actually inside this algorithmic trust metric? Well, there's a strict hierarchy. Payment history is the absolute undisputed king. It makes up the massive bulk of your risk profile. Pay late, and you're locked out of buying a house or a car. But credit utilization, which is just the ratio of debt you carry versus the credit you actually have available, and your credit age are equally huge levers if you want to optimize. When an investor keeps their utilization super low while holding on to aged, diversified accounts, they're screaming to the institutional models, hey, I am a highly profitable, low-risk borrower. The magic number you want to keep in your head is 750. The financial system runs on very strict rules, but if you understand them, you can absolutely play a rigged game to win. Keeping your score north of that 750 threshold unlocks the absolute best capital allocation. Let me put it this way. When you go to get a 30-year mortgage, the difference between a prime rate unlocked by a 750 score and a subprime rate attached to a lower tier can literally mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in lifetime interest. It is the single defining factor in how cheaply you can access institutional capital.
And that brings us to the final boss level, Level 5, value, currency, and time.
I'm going to hit you with a jarring truth right now. Money isn't even real. Seriously, we have to confront the reality of fiat currency. It has zero intrinsic value. Ever since the global economy ditched the gold standard, our modern money operates entirely as a collective hallucination. A dollar bill is literally just a unit of account. It's a standardized medium of exchange backed by absolutely nothing except the full faith and credit of the issuing government and the psychological agreement of all of us who use it. Because currency is just this agreed-upon placeholder. Building true wealth means you have to decouple your earning potential from a strict hourly wage. Nobody gets super rich by just hoarding a basic salary. True wealth is achieved by creating scalable value. Think about it. The most successful founders, innovators, and top-tier professionals like doctors or software creators generate massive wealth because they solve massive problems for other people. They bring high-leverage solutions to the market, and the market happily trades its fiat currency for that real, localized value. But you know what the greatest multiplier of that created value is? It's the unstoppable mathematical force of time. The power of compound growth means that a dollar deployed effectively today is going to absolutely crush larger sums invested later in life. Historically speaking, a single dollar invested in your 20s is worth 10 times more than that exact same dollar invested in your 40s. By creating value and consistently letting it ride the compounding timeline, you completely shield your future from the quiet theft of inflation. So, now that you actually know the deep mechanics of the economic machine, what is your next